Squire Trelawney, Dr. Livesey, and the rest of these gentlemen have asked me to write down the whole particulars about the island, from the beginning to the end, keeping nothing back but the bearings of the island, and that only because there's still treasure not yet lifted. This is the true record, the finding of Treasure Island. I take up my pen in the year of grace 17, and go back to the time when my father kept the Admiral Benbow Inn, and the brown old seaman with the saber cut first took up his lodging under our roof. I remember him as if it were yesterday, as he came plodding to the inn door, his sea chest following behind him in a hand-barrow, a tall, strong, heavy, nut-brown man, his tarry pigtail falling over the shoulder of his soil-blue coat, his hands ragged and scarred, with black, broken nails, and the saber cut across one cheek, a dirty, livid white.
Can I help you, sir?
Give me rum, man. This is a handy cove and a pleasant situated grog shop. Much company, mate?
I'm afraid we're not as busy as we'd like to be.
Well then, this is the berth for me. Hey, you matey! Come up alongside and bring my chest. I'll stay here a bit. I'm a plain man. Rum and bacon and eggs is what I want. And that head up there for to watch ships off.
And what should we call you, sir?
What you might call me? You might call me Captain. Ah, I see what you're at. There. You can tell me when I've worked through that.
Good man. If it's not too much trouble, who's our guest?
Can't say for certain, Governor, but earlier today, he stopped by at the post and asked about inns. Hearing your inn was, well, a little quiet, he decided to come here. I'm afraid I don't know another thing about him.
Ahoy below! Hurry up with the goods!
And that was all we could learn of our guest. He was a very silent man by custom. All day he hung round the cove or upon the cliffs with a brass telescope. All evening he sat in a corner of the parlour next to the fire and drank either water or very strong rum. Mostly he would not speak when spoken to, only look up sudden and fierce and blow through his nose like a foghorn, and we and the people who came about our house soon learned to leave him be.
Any ships come to anchor today?
No, the port's quite a small one. It doesn't attract much attention.
Ah, well, now to breakfast.
At first we thought it was the want of company of his own kind that made him ask this question, but at last we began to see he was desirous to avoid them. When a seaman did put up at the Admiral Benbow, as now and then some did, making by the coast road for Bristol, he would look in at him through the curtained door before he entered the parlour, and he was always sure to be as silent as a mouse when any such was present. For me, at least, there was no secret about the matter, for I was, in a way, a sharer in his troubles.
Can you keep a level head and a tight mouth, lad?
Yes, sir.
And I've got a job for you, lad. If you'll keep a weather eye out for a seafaring man with a one leg, and let me know the moment he appears, I'll give you a silver fourpenny on the first of every month. Can you do that for me, lad?
Yes, sir.
That's a good lad. Now off you go, and remember, keep your eyes open.
Often enough when the first of the month came round, and I applied to him for my wage, he would only blow through his nose at me and stare me down. But before the week was out, he was sure to think better of it, bring me my fourpenny piece, and repeat his orders to look out for the seafaring man with one leg. There were nights when he took a deal more rum and water than his head would carry, and then he would sometimes sit and sing his wicked old wild sea songs, minding nobody. But sometimes he would call for glasses round and force all the trembling company to listen to his stories, or bear a chorus to his singing. Nor would he allow anyone to leave the inn till he had drunk himself sleepy and reeled off to bed.
My word, Amy. What will we do? He'll ruin us if we go on like this. with his constant pestilence.
Now, dear, the captain isn't going to tear down the inn.
If he carries on like this, he might. Why, I'm afraid I'll have to ask him to leave.
Dear, it's true he's trouble, but he may actually be doing more good than bad for the inn. We live in a quiet village, and a little bit of excitement may be good for the neighbours. We've never had so many customers in.
Well, maybe you're right. But still, that man is a proper nuisance.
All the time he lived with us, the captain never wrote or received a letter, and he never spoke with any but the neighbours, and with these, for the most part, only when drunk on rum. The great sea chest none of us had ever seen open. He was only once crossed, and that was towards the end, when my poor father was far gone in a decline that took him off.
He's a little medicine, Mrs. Hawkins. Give him a bit of this when he wakes up, and I'll be back to check on him tomorrow. Ah, Jim, would you be so kind as to let the stable know I'm ready for my horse?
Right away, Mr. Livesey.
Good lad. Taylor, good to see you. How's the missus been?
Well, you know what? I don't even buy words.
15 men on the dead man's chest. Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum.
I don't fancy all the rain myself.
Silence there between decks.
Were you addressing me, sir?
I'm speaking to you.
I've only one thing to say to you, sir. That if you keep on drinking rum, the world will soon be quit of a very dirty scoundrel. If you do not put that knife this instant in your pocket, I promise, upon my honor, you shall hang in the next court trial. And now, sir, since I now know there's such a fellow in my district, you may count I'll have my eye upon you day and night. I'm not a doctor only, I'm a magistrate. And if I catch a breath of a complaint against you, if it's only for a piece of incivility like tonight's, I'll take effectual means to have you hunted down and routed out of this. Let that suffice.
Soon after, Dr. Livesey's horse came to the door, and he rode away. But the captain held his peace that evening, and for many evenings to come. It was a bitter, cold winter, with long, hard frosts and heavy gales, and it was plain from the first that my poor father was little likely to see the spring. He sank daily, and my mother and I had the inn upon our hands, and were kept busy enough without paying much regard to our unpleasant guest. It was one January morning, very early, a pinching, frosty morning, the cove all grey with hoar-frost, the ripple lapping softly on the stones, the sun still low and only touching the hilltops and shining far to seaward. The captain had risen earlier than usual and set out down the beach, his cutlass swinging under the broad skirts of the old blue coat, his brass telescope under his arm, his hat tilted back upon his head. Well, Mother was upstairs with Father, and I was laying the breakfast table against the captain's return when the parlor door opened and a man stepped in on whom I had never set my eyes before. I had always my eye open for seafaring men, with one leg or two, and I remember this one puzzled me. He was not sailorly, and yet he had a smack of the sea about him. "Can I help you, sir?"
Rum.
"Just a moment."
That's the stuff. I have a question for you, lad. Come nearer here. Is this here table from my mate Bill?
I don't know of your mate, Bill, but we do have a gentleman by the name of Captain who stays here.
Well, my mate Bill would be called the captain as like as not. He has a cut on one cheek, and a mighty pleasant way with him, particularly in drink, as my mate Bill. We'll put it, for argument, that your captain has a cut on one cheek. And we'll put it, if you like, that cheek's the right one.
That does sound like the captain.
Ah, well, I told you. Now, is my mate Bill in this here house?
I'm afraid he's gone for his daily walk.
Which way, sonny? Which way is he gone?
That way, down along the port. He usually returns around now.
Ah, this'll be as good a drink to my mate Bill.
I could fetch him for you if you'd like.
No, my boy, I'll wait.
It's no trouble. I'll be gone but a moment.
No! Get back here, boy.
All right. I'm not going.
Ah, you're a good lad. I have a son of my own as like as you as 2 blocks, and he's all the pride of my art. The great thing for boys is discipline, Sonny, discipline. Now, if you'd have sailed along a bill, you wouldn't have stood there to be spoke to twice. Not you. That was never Bill's way. Nor the waves such a sail with him. And here, sure enough, is my mate Bill, with a spyglass under his arm, bless his old heart, to be sure. You and me'll just go back into the parlour, Sonny, and get behind the door. And we'll give Bill a little surprise, bless his heart, I say again. Bill? Come, Bill, you know me. You know an old shipmate, Bill.
Black Dog.
And who else? Black Dog as ever was. Come for to see his old shipmate Billy at the Admiral Benbow Inn. Ah, Bill, Bill, we have seen a sight of times, us two, eh?
Now look here. You've run me down. Here I am. Well then, speak up. What is it?
Lad, a round of rum for me and my mate Bill. That's you, Bill. You're in the right of it, Billy. I'll have a glass of rum from this dear child here, as I've took such a liking to, and we'll sit down, if you please, and talk square, like old shipmates. Now be off, lad. Don't let me catch you listening.
For a long time, though I certainly did my best to listen, I could hear nothing but a low gattling. But at last the voices began to grow higher, and I could pick up a word or two. Until...
Oh, Billy, don't be
No,
unreasonable.
and an end of it.
Just give it up!
If it comes to swinging, swing all, say I.
The next instant I saw Black Dog in full flight, and the captain hotly pursuing, both with drawn cutlasses, and the former streaming blood from the left shoulder. Just at the door, the captain aimed at the fugitive one last tremendous cut, which would have certainly split him to the chin, had it not been intercepted by a big signboard of Admiral Benbow.
Come back here, you cowardly dog. If you ever come here again, I'll spit you like a pig.
Are you hurt?
Jim, rum! Rum. I must get away from
Jim.
here. Rum!
Jim.
Rum!
Dearie, dearie me! What a disgrace upon this house! And your poor father's sick!
Oh. Well, what on earth do we have here?
Doctor! The captain has been wounded!
Move aside, my boy. Let me take a look.
Oh, Doctor, what shall we do? Where is he wounded?
Wounded? Fiddlestick's end. No more wounded than you or I. The man has had a stroke, as I warned him. Now, Mrs. Hawkins, just you run upstairs to your husband and tell him, if possible, nothing about it. For my part, I must do my best to save this fellow's terribly worthless life. Jim, could you get me a basin?
Yes, sir!
Tattoos, of course. A fair wind. Belly bones his fancy?
Here's the water, Doctor.
Ah, thank you, Jim. And now, Master Billy Bones, if that be your name, we'll have a look at the color of your blood. Jim, are you afraid of blood?
No, sir.
Well, then, hold the basin.
Where's Black Dog?
There is no black dog here, except what you have on your own back. You have been drinking rum, and you've had a stroke, precisely as I told you. And I have just, very much against my own will, dragged you head foremost out of the grave. Now, Mr. Bones...
It's not my name.
Much I care. It's the name of a buccaneer of my acquaintance, and I call you by it for the sake of shortness. And what I have to say to you is this. One glass of rum won't kill you, but if you take one, you'll take another. And I stake my wig if you don't break off short. You'll die. Do you understand that? Die. And go to your own place, like the man in the Bible. Come now, make an effort. I'll help you to your bed.
Aye. Aye.
Now, mind you, I clear my conscience. The name of rum for you is death. This is nothing. I've drawn blood enough to keep him quiet a while. He should lie for a week where he is. That's the best thing for him and you. But another stroke would settle him.